Hi, I'm Caitlin Roberson, the Chief Content Officer here at Wordisseur, and today I'd like to talk to you about the 3 things that I do to jumpstart my creativity when I am editing and writing and also brainstorming, whether it be with different writers or with clients. And as Jocelyn talks about in today's blog when she's sharing her process, each activity requires a very different mind space. And I've said before that content is like an act of harnessing chaos, and really the final product that's produced depends upon how you interact with the ambiguity and the flow of multiple ideas, and your ability to have one part of your brain that really is expansive and has a lot of ideas and gets a lot of ideas down on paper or whatever form you're using. And then the other part that is much more structurized and winnows down and chooses the best of what's there. And so the 3 things that I do, of those 3, the first one is exercise. I'll share the 3 kinds of exercise that I do the most. The first one, during my average workday, I will go on several different walks as I take breaks. I find that when I leave my office and I go disassociate from what's immediately at hand in terms of the tasks, I find that space, the wandering of my mind, actually frees my mind up to make new associations and new connections so that I can come back and I will not only be able to shift gears in terms of tasks, but also come back with a more evolved way of thinking about an idea so that I can present it in a flow that's more intuitive, in a structure that is more clear, in a way that is more compelling and actionable. And that same process, extends to the other 2 things that I do in terms of exercise, which are yoga and lifting weights. And it's a pretty simple concept, I guess, but I find that when my body is in different positions, particularly in this case in terms of yoga, my mind also restructures itself. It repositions itself. It gets more nimble. It gets more flexible. And that's really important when you're the one that needs to constantly refine, manipulate, conjure up, transform ideas in a way that influences buying behaviors. And then, with lifting weights, I find that I tend to lift fairly heavy weights. And the reason being, I seek the meditative quality that produces in my mind in terms of having an absolute focus on nothing else but what is at hand, the physical exertion, the sweating. And that kind of meditative quality, I find, comes back and enhances what I'm doing in my office because I've taken the time to forget about it at the gym. The second thing that I do to jumpstart my creativity is surround myself with different pieces of art. And as you can see behind me, I really take this seriously. This piece is a 50 by 50 inch Kandinsky reproduction, which was hand painted by someone in Vietnam. And so Kandinsky, he fascinates me just personally because he was the first artist in the early 20s and 30s. He was German, but actually lived in Paris. He's Russian and actually lived in Paris in Germany. And he was the first artist to try to structurally approach the depiction, systematically approach the depiction, the ability to convey emotion. And it strikes me that is a really similar process to what we do as marketers when we're creating content and thinking about messages, because there is kind of this, the chaos that I've referred to. There's kind of the primal nature of emotion matches kind of the primal chaos of ideas and many flowing, different, shifting, omnidirectional ideas. And then there's also a component, that Kandinsky really tried to internalize and produce in producing something that was more scientific in terms of a final product that scientifically shows, the literal representation of emotion. In the same way, we as marketers have to fuse art with science in how we approach the creation of content and the, that in terms of message creation and dissemination, and how that's supported by technologies and sales and marketing alignment and sales conversations and having a closed feedback loop to optimize and all sorts of things. I also sometimes like to go places like museums, for instance. And as you can see in today's blog also, I included some pictures that I took recently at the Cantor Art Museum when I was there. And I found that my appreciation and my enjoyment of the art at that location was significantly enhanced by my interaction with it. And in the same way, I try to play with the words and the aesthetic appearance of how a piece of content is laid out on a page, whether it's thinking about what call out should be here for this white paper, or whether it's something as simple as, okay, this is a blog, should I have this sentence be a paragraph on its own? Should I center this text? Should I italicize it? Should I bold it? Should I capitalize it? Does this need to be a bullet point list? This element of structure is really important, and how that influences the more artistic process of content creation. The third thing that I do is change up how I dress. Now, I obviously work from home a lot of the time, so in theory, I could wear a variety of different outfits, and I do. And I find that I produce higher quality work if I match my outfits to what I need to do that day. And I'm not alone. 42% of people, according to a LinkedIn survey, say that the way that they dress influences how confident and creative they are at work. So today I have a few video meetings, but I'm actually doing a lot of in-person collaboration today with several different mentors and colleagues to talk about Wordisseur's business. And so I'm kind of in the mood to be more cutting edge, to be a little bit innovative, to be a little bit badass. So, I've got studs on, and I, the shirt makes me feel sassy. So that's why I wore this particular shirt today. Other days, I've got very crisp starched outfits on if I need to look like a high-performing executive. If I want to be more artsy on another day, I might paint my nails green or something like that. So it really just depends on what I need to do that day. But I find that the impact in terms of producing a more expansive result is really impacted by how I dress. So those are the 3 things that I do to jumpstart my creativity, and the whole point of this video is to also hear from you. So if you could comment in the section here at the bottom of the blog, or do me the favor of tweeting to @Wordisseur, that would be fantastic. We also invite you to comment on our Facebook photo album also, which I've mentioned about the Cantor Art Museum. So thanks for tuning in, and I will look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.